Hi, everyone. I just realized I don't have my clicker, so I can't even click. I must have put it down when I was getting mic, so maybe someone can bring it to me and just move it forward to the next slide in the meantime. All right, so
it's the thing of the clicker this year, right? I mean, know. We can build customer success strategies that scale to IPO, but clicking things, it's our challenge.
So today I'm going to talk about proactive strategies in customer success and moving from that reactive as default. I think many of us have been on that side of the table where you're constantly trying to put out a fire. So I'll be talking about what I've done in my past to combat these challenges. So just quickly, a little bit about me. I work for WalkMe. It's a GPS, a guidance application for the web. We're based in San Francisco, and I'm the VP of engagement. I work with companies all over the world. I'll be sharing some of their stories. And a fun fact about me, I'm getting my executive MBA right now, and I had the opportunity to go visit my customers in India this past spring. And so this is a picture of me very jet-lagged, and some of the customers I'll be delivering a business plan to. So they shifted the way I was thinking about everything I do in my life. And one of the things is, even though they're not my primary customer, it's the Don Bosco Research Institute, this nonprofit. What they're going to do with my business plan is deliver to these customers to help these children gain identities. So with that in mind, you'll see that permeate through my presentation. All right, so this is the agenda. From reactive to proactive, and then the different places where you can take advantage of some of these tips I'm going to share in onboarding, customer success, and support. So we've all been here. My most recent one is joining WalkMe. The people I interviewed with, the co-founders, are in Tel Aviv, and interviewed me at my time, 10 at night, early mornings, and they're asking me all these questions, and one of the questions I forgot to ask them was, well, does my team know I'm coming? And they didn't. And so when I showed up, it was kind of a shock. And so I had to really work hard to gain their trust. And I'll be talking about that when in the next slides. So we all have proactive goals. We want to increase the conversion and time to value if you're in sales, trying to get them to convert to a paying customer. We also want to reduce support. We're constantly getting our budgets cut, but they want you to do more with less people. And then, of course, shortening the onboarding time. Some of the people before me who spoke, some of the speakers mentioned that onboarding is one of the most important parts of the customer journey. And I can't agree more, and I'll be talking about that as well. So what is proactive onboarding? I believe you really have one shot at success. There's some stats that I'll be sharing next, but I've also experienced it at some of my other companies where I'm onboarding an application. I thought it was the best thing ever during the evaluation, and then you realize once you start onboarding that you made a mistake. And so you don't want your customers to be in that critical stage where they can call the other vendors back. And Mitch mentioned that he lost a customer during the onboarding. That's like a really bad feeling. So if you can get the onboarding piece right, then everything else should be much easier. So this is from McKinsey & Company. They put out a report, and it shows where people are during onboarding at the beginning of the journey. You can see that their CSAT drops within the first 90 days. And they're not even at 100 at the top because for us, for example, the decision maker at Monsanto, I can guarantee you that person is not going to be implementing WalkMe. They're going to call the PMO, ask for a project manager, and that person is going to do the implementation. They might not be that excited about the project, and so right away you're at a disadvantage. The stats on the right side show you that during the implementation or installation journey, sales might have a great experience, logistics, they're giving you high stats, but overall the end-to-end journey gets us 65%. So it really drops dramatically, and that's why I believe the first onboarding stages are critical. So what does proactive onboarding mean? For me, it means you have to start by building a great team of leaders. When I first joined WalkMe, we had our first meeting and we went around the room and I said, what do you think is your number one trait? What do you bring to the table to your customers? And not one of them said leadership. And to me, that was shocking because we are leaders of our customers. We have to take ownership of them, especially if your team owns the expansion opportunities. I don't even like to call them accounts. I don't call our customers accounts, I call them customers. And I believe in expansion opportunities. It's not just about a renewal or a churn, it's about how do I expand this relationship. So along with your team and being a great leader and building leaders, whether it's through training or you as a role model, coaching and mentoring, you also have to inspire your customers. You can do a great onboarding, but then what's next? Why should they engage in your product once you're up and running? And so I'll be sharing some ideas on inspiring your customers with how other customers, for example, are using your product. The next one is anticipating customer needs. I think one of the other speakers talked about how do we make sure we give customers what they want? Well, you have to fail quickly. If you make a mistake or you try something, don't see it necessarily as a failure, but just move on. And my example is when we were setting up our onboarding team, we tried the 90-minute long onboarding session. We actually told the customer it was American Express. We're trying out some new ideas. With onboarding, are you willing to participate? So we brought the people in the room and 90 minutes didn't work. And so we found for us, our sweet spot is the customer has your attention for 30 to 45 minutes. And that first call is critical. So really making sure that you know what your customers need and not drawing out the process for too long. So the first 24 hours I really think are important. And of course, so are the 30 and the 60, and people talk about the 90 days. But one of the speakers talked about how the faster you get someone onboarded, the more value, the higher NPS scores you have. And when I think of onboarding, I don't think of someone engaging in all of WalkMe. We have so many different tools in our toolkit that we can offer you. I care about what are your top pain points. So during onboarding, we actually build the customer's 6 first walkthroughs. And I don't want it to just be any 3. I want it to be the 3 or 6 that are really going to provide value quickly. I'll be sharing some ideas on how to automate your process and provide a consistent experience. Whether you're an American Express or a small company with 5 people, I believe that there's some way you can provide a consistent experience regardless of the segmentation. And during onboarding, it's just critical to build that trusted relationship. During our kickoff, we show a deck that shows exactly where we are, the team that's going to get them up and running. And little things like that can start building your relationship. When I was looking through Salesforce trying to learn our customers and not being able to find out where our customers were and asking the CSM and them not being able to tell me is a major problem. If you don't know where your customer is, you're not building that relationship, that kickoff. You should take those first few minutes to chit chat and get to know that customer. So this is the WalkMe Jumpstart program. I built one at JobVite where I was the first CSM. I was employee number 9, and I built something similar. Obviously, it's JobVite branded. And I did the same at BrightEdge. So this is my 3rd go at it, building an onboarding team. And you can see that it's easy to understand. There are 4 steps, and on step 5, you go live. You know exactly who's responsible for what. If the customer isn't going to give me login credentials, how can my professional services team give you the tools that you've paid for, essentially? I also like to establish the responsibility with a time box. If you're telling me you need to go live in 30 days, then I don't want your credentials on day 28. I want them on day 5 or day 2 so that we can get started and actually provide you quality. Everything we have, and I'll show you the emails in a moment, but is consistent, and there's transition communication. So when that opportunity in Salesforce closes, an email from sales goes out explaining who their CSM is and what's going to happen. This attachment is in that email. Every single customer is prepared with that and a 60-second video of what WalkMe is. I'll go back to the PMO office, to the person who might be implementing WalkMe. A 60-second video can help them get a high overview of what our product does. And then the last step is really important. It's the post-go live. It's the celebration, the announcement of what you're about to share with your customers and your employees. All of this for me is, I simplified the process. When I arrived, I had no idea how long onboarding was. Nothing was being tracked. Now I can say with pride that our average onboarding is under 30 days. So strategies, this is an example of how I've customized and made our onboarding flexible. Everything here, I realize it's small, but everything here is numbered 0 to 10 in Salesforce. So a CSM can go into Salesforce, find their contact, select the template they want to use, customize it, and send it. All the decks are already PDF'd, they're all ready to go, and the CSM doesn't have to worry about small things when they should be really focused on driving value with the customer. So templates should be flexible, and then the tracking the usage is very important. I know it's been a general theme here. From the day the opportunity is closed to the kickoff, to brainstorming, delivering the product, and then at what point does that customer push the product live, it's all tracked. Where we're able to see where the bottlenecks are and where we have to improve. So setting expectations aren't just for your customers, but they're also for your employees and yourself. You have to make it easy for your employees to be able to come to you and ask for help. So I've automated in Salesforce, if a customer hasn't been touched in 2 weeks during onboarding, a flag goes off. If a customer hasn't been touched in 30 days, then more people get involved. I have my own set of templates that I can send customers. And my golden rule is, if you send three emails to a customer, they're not responding, you need to pick up the phone. Nothing is worse than seeing we use Salesforce and implicit with it. And so it tracks every customer email and communication. The worst is seeing 21 emails to a customer, but never a call. So I think that's really important. I purposely left this box here that says place customer logo within this box. I believe that there should be some personalization, and this is during our post-onboarding. So just like we ask the decision maker to be on the kickoff call, we keep it short, 30 minutes. We want to know what their KPIs are. We invite them again at the end of the project to remind them what they told us of their KPIs and to show them what the process has been, to make sure that we got it right. We want their sign-off before they go into a phase of ongoing success. And it has to have a purpose. So on the next slide, I'll show you, you have to give the decision maker a reason to come to that meeting. I highly recommend keep it 30 minutes. The chances of a DM coming to your meeting that for more than 30 minutes are definitely lower. And you can see here what we've done is we show the progress of the company. I randomly picked one, obviously it's anonymized, but you can see here, this is everything the customer decided to implement, and then we benchmark them against all our other customers. So WalkMe has about 800 brands, and we are able to show the customer, this is what you achieved during your onboarding, here's where you can get to. So for results, if you're able to implement an onboarding program that's scalable from an employee perspective and a customer perspective, you'll not only have something that's faster, easily tracked, you'll also be able to build longer lasting relationships, more expansion opportunities, referenceable customers, and you're building your team as leaders. After every onboarding, the customer who went through the onboarding receives a survey from me. It's 5 simple questions. I ask them, did we deliver what sales told you we would deliver? Are you happy with your customer success experience? Is there anything you'd like us to know? And would you like to share your story with us? And we've been talking about, Adrian was talking about G2 Crowd. We use it extensively. For example, I'll use American Express again, just because I've been working with them. The woman I've been working with is in Australia. She said, I want you to come. I want you to do a video and a case study with me. I said, great, let's do it. I'm going to New Zealand for school in the fall. I'll swing by. And she called me back and she said, I can't do it. I'm not allowed. My marketing said no. I'm so sorry. I'm embarrassed. I said, well, do you think you could share your love for us on G2 Crowd? And she did. And so that was a big win, and it's because she had an amazing onboarding experience. So the last thing here with onboarding is you need to deliver value quickly, and it starts within those first 24 hours. If you don't have a touch point within the first 24 hours, when they're really excited to be your customer, you can potentially lose them. So proactive customer success. One of our customers, CenturyLink, is speaking at Dreamforce on our behalf this fall, and I interviewed her in preparation for it, and I said, Shelley, can you give me some stats on why you use WalkMe? And this is her quote. I quoted her. It's really important to have continued engagement and long-term usage. She uses WalkMe for sales enablement, and her big challenge was these salespeople are forgetting everything we're training them on. What do we do? So it's really important that you look beyond just the training and adoption. It has to be with the customers often. So for WalkMe customers, you get a 24/7 university where you can go in if you want with your feet up at night and be self-learning. There are different ways. People learn in different ways. Some people video, some people want live training. So for our employees, there's lots to learn too. I can't even keep up with our product. We're a Scrum company, we're agile, we release a lot of products. And so what we came up with this last year is a resource center for our employees. This is just one of the pages. We've since added more, like all our case studies, our customer stories, but you can see here a CSM can go and play a video and see how is a customer onboarded, for example, my team's report, or check my form to make sure that I've filled everything in the opportunity. And our goal is to expose this to our customers at the end of the year. So we're ramping it up, making sure it works internally to help our employees with resources, and then we want to give it to customers so they can see all the cool things other customers are doing. So for proactive success, don't wait until it's Q4, not even Q3, and you're doing your QBR. Constantly be asking those open-ended questions. And I learned this at Bright Edge. I was running customer operations there, and we had 2 McKinsey consultants come work with us. And for 2 days, we practiced open-ended questions. So it would be like saying, Ursula, how are you feeling about the WalkMe relationship? Tell me what you like, what you don't like. And then they're not going to give you yes and no answers. There's no option for it. They'll open up to you. So that's a really important part of your calls with your customers. And then tracking and exposing those KPIs to your customers, I think is really important. And this is an example of insights. We call them insights, where a customer can go in and see exactly, here's what I've built, here's how my customers are interacting with them, and here's where they're failing. So a guidance, essentially. So establishing that regular cadence with the customer. nothing is more annoying on the receiving end for me to meet with someone and they don't have an agenda for me. Well, you want me to meet with you every week. What are we talking about? So definitely bring your purpose to these meetings. Have 24/7 support. This is an example of a company. It's called FarmerGo. It's a platform for companies that have cows and pigs and all that, big farms. And so they have 24/7 support for their users. Customer newsletters, I just released a second one today. If you want a copy of it, email me, I'll forward it to you. We always include videos, customer stories, events we'll be at. We make it engaging. We also have organic communities on LinkedIn. So people that use WalkMe for Workday, they can go in there and ask questions of customers all over the world. We meet every 2 weeks at 7 a.m. so that people from everywhere can join us and talk about their challenges with the product or what they want to do. They want to see how other people are using WalkMe. We have a safe space for them to do it. The yearly NPS, I know some people in this room, I've talked to you, don't agree with the yearly NPS, but I'm a huge advocate of it. I like asking that question, do you plan to renew this year? It's eye-opening, and it will help you resolve challenges sooner than when it's too late. And then meetups. We host meetups all the time, not just for customer success managers, but for product managers and different leaders to share ideas. I think it's really important to get out in the community and do that. So these proactive results include more trust, customers recognizing their return on their investment. You're inspiring your customers and creating these organic evangelists. A customer, I thought they were in Australia, I tweeted, they put out some press release about partnering with us, and I said Australia, and they tweeted back to me and said, we're actually in New Zealand. So it was a little bit embarrassing, but I said, oops, I'm sorry, I kept the tweet up. But anyways, it's exciting. You get these organic stories about your product when you're not even asking for them. And then, of course, they lead to less support calls if you have in-context support where they're able to help themselves. All right, so we always want to avoid angry customers. I can say I've been a CSM for enough years where I've muted the phone and cried because the customer's so mad at me or the product or whatever, and had to gain composure. But we never want to be in this situation, right? So I just want to share a quick story about Bank of Montreal. Financial tech, they're the oldest bank in Canada. They have lots of customers, obviously, and the financial tech industry is obviously very competitive. They also have lots of security issues. We had to go through lots of security audits to gain their business. But what they really wanted to do was not only embrace the digital age, they wanted to make sure they were compliant with Canada laws, French, English, and then, of course, they want to be competition, provide consistency, obviously always wanting to reduce costs. And so what they did is they offered real-time guidance in their platform. This is an example of one. Instead of getting their engineers, product people to build something to announce that they had a new product or to blast emails to people, how many people get emails from their banks and they just delete them and don't read them? Now it's in product contextual help, helping reduce costs. And then 24/7 multi-language support that they offer. And last but not least, I still think you should have chat and phone support. I know that when I was at JobVite for the first 4 years, we didn't have phone support post-onboarding. People were not happy. We heard about it in NPS scores all the time. And then the minute we got phone support, our NPS scores jumped. Promise it's going to work. All right, so I think this is what we all aim for with proactive strategies: less human interaction, faster response times. I actually think it's not just to save the company money by having less human interaction. It's people are savvy. They want to go into your product and use it. They don't want to have to talk to someone to be able to use it. And then, of course, for the finance people in the room, they want us to lower our costs. So the key takeaways: think about how you can get onboarding right from the get-go within the first 24 hours. I actually flew to Tel Aviv to meet the senior vice president of sales because we were not aligned on what the process should be from that sales to CS. I wanted to own that relationship, but I needed him to be aligned with me. So making sure there's alignment, providing value quickly, and then moving forward, providing your customers with data, regularly meeting with them. And lastly, with tools. Tools are great things for not only your customers, but your employees. So I know several of the tools have been mentioned. Another one I would highly recommend is Implicit for tracking your emails. And then the other one is Grammarly, because I have lots of people on my team that their first language is Hebrew. Sometimes their emails aren't amazing, but Grammarly's free. I use it, and I'm a little bit addicted to it, but it's a great way to make sure that not only your verbal communication is excellent, but so is your written. One last thing. The customer journey is really complex. I was reading a case study from the Harvard Business Review for school, for marketing, and this sentence was so long, and one of my professors said, never make a sentence more than 20 words. Well, this guy did, and this is just the most important part: is it's complex, and you really need to be proactive, starting immediately if you're going to succeed. That's it. Thank you.